I had when I found out I had a son, was having a son, I was excited. I'm like, oh man, but I didn't know. In my excitement, I wasn't so concerned about who he would become as much as I was concerned about who I would become and trying to figure out how to raise him.
Yo, what up,
Man,
Cole? We are
what's up,
here.
Sean, man?
Listen, man. Yo, listen. I just pressed record on your tail. Didn't even give you a warning. We are here. We popped on early. See, I caught you off guard. You know what I mean? People expect us to be on here at 8 o'clock. Nope.
They
We
do,
on here
they
at
do.
7:22. Yo, Cole,
Bro,
what
what's
is
going
it?
on with my
You was
bro?
perfect
Bro.
before we went live. Now you grainy as heck, bruh.
Listen, I don't think it's me, bro. I think it's the program we use it, bro. I'm blaming the program.
That's what you think it is.
Yeah,
Listen,
because prior to that, my glow up was my hat was popping even more.
well, when I have Tony on from the Friend of the Court, he doesn't have that issue.
Well, probably so. He using that for the court money.
Oh, that's what it is. He using Friend
My
of the
bad.
Court.
My bad, Tony. My bad.
Listen, this is my only thing, bro. Like we on here now, right, to get this thing popping. But you was good backstage. Now we get on here, you want to be grainy. I look real good
Bro,
compared to you, bro.
listen. And I'm using some of the best internet, man. I'm coming in by way of Chicago, So I'm in the hotel and I'm using hotel Wi-Fi, and it should be popping. It ain't none of
Yeah,
mine. So I think it's this.
I don't know.
It's I think
Maybe you didn't
if
pray
I don't
this
move, I'm
morning.
good.
Maybe you didn't pray this morning.
We put it on prayer.
maybe maybe you didn't pray this morning, bro. Yo, because there's
Oh
no
my!
way that you are like real nice behind the scenes. You get all right, so you straight right now. So just don't move. Stay
I
right
just want.
there.
I
You
can't
shook your
move. That's
head.
all.
Stop moving your head, bro. Just
Yeah.
stay right
It's
there. Right there. There you go. Don't
bro. Can we just?
All right, we can get it popping, man. Listen, man. So listen, tonight we are talking. This is a good one, man. I mean, the question, Cole, like you. Well, first of all, man, why are you in Chicago, bro?
Bro, so I'm in Chicago because, me and my organization, the Delta Project, right? Project that serves working with young men and helping them tell their stories, specifically black and brown boys. We came to Chicago to meet with an organization called 361. And the goal really was for us to meet with some investors to talk about ways that investors can, move from just, investing in things and move into investing in people, right? And sort of seeing the young men that I serve from at risk to at potential. So we came to Chicago, man, to present and connect and build relationships with some investors in the hopes that they'll see the value in the Delta Project and the young men that I serve here in Grand Rapids and be open to supporting me to continue the mission to help young men become something they don't see. So it's been a great opportunity thus far, and we're looking forward to continue to develop those relationships. So,
That's
yeah,
dope,
man,
man.
in
That's
Chicago
dope.
doing that work, doing
That's
the work,
dope, man.
doing the
That's
work.
that's super dope, man. That you are exposing these young men to other stuff, man, and getting
Yeah,
investors
yeah, yeah,
to support the work that you are doing. You know that's super dope, man. And look, man, you travel to do that,
yeah,
right? So you serious
yeah.
about this work.
Yeah, man. And not only that, but I was blessed enough to have a young man that trusts us to come along with us to not only talk about the program, but also to talk about his vision, right, about his own t-shirt line, which is associated to, his experience with losing friends due to suicide. So, shout out to my young brother, Kelvante, man, Lip Trot, who came through and did not know, you had never been in the space with investors and worked the room like he had been there his whole entire life.
That's dope.
And so so I was like a proud dad sitting in that space, just watching him, interact with men and talk about his vision and the work that he's trying to do to elevate the young people that are involved in his life. And so it's just powerful to sort of see, that kind of unfold from our young people, because they do have the voice, they do have a vision for their lives, and all we have to do is give them opportunities for them to be able to thrive, and they'll do exactly what they're assigned to do. So,
That's super dope,
Calvante's
man.
doing this thing. So it's been a blessing, man. It's been
That's
a
super
blessing.
dope. That's super dope, man. Kudos to you, man. The work that you're doing over there in Grand Rapids, man. I'm happy to
Appreciate
walk
that.
alongside you, man. Happy to be to be rocking this space with you, man. Like I really know that the work that you're doing over there is really making a huge impact, bro. You know what I mean? So thanks for what you're doing, man. So yo,
Man,
so
appreciate that, bro.
this is what we gonna do, man. We gonna tap in tonight, man. The question of tonight, man, is I'm trying to share this, so anybody who's watching, please take this time to share. You know what I mean? Because one of the things that reason why I wanted to talk about this topic, Cole, is that I talked to several brothers, man, who are former athletes, and and they may not have made it to the pros, or they were successful in their own right in the area that they
Right,
were in, extremely gifted, and they have these dreams and these visions about how their children are going to go further than them, right? They already have their
right,
children's future mapped out. And what
right.
happens is, my thing is what I want to tap into is like what happens, and what does that look like, bro, when you wind up raising a child that you have versus the child that you always wanted to have, right? You know what I mean? Because that's deep, bro. Because I run to people in my space, man, where when you get to the core of a lot of the issues is that their child may not be the child that they had hopes for, right?
Yeah,
They had a desire for their child to be athletic, and they don't have not one athletic bone in their body. They
yeah.
may have wanted them to be artistic, and they can't sing
Stay that life.
to save they ever loving lives, right? And so
Right.
here you are with this child, and sometime that child, that parent can resent that child because that
Yeah,
child is not who they are. And and I
yeah.
have several instances, man, but before we tap into that, man, I want to know, like, what's your thoughts? Like, do you think that's such a thing, bro? Like, do you know of a situation, you personally, do you know the struggle of individuals that is raising a child that they have versus the one they thought they would always have?
Yeah, man. I think we can move that needle even further back, right? And just talk about from the time you find out you're going to be a father. And I can just speak from my own personal perspective and then talk from the space of like all the other fathers that I've come in contact with. When dads find out they're going to be a father and they're going to have a boy, there is something that happens to dads when they find out they're going to have a boy, right? Because everything that's tied to a boy is tied to the father. And so there is this going to be my junior. Already that you start to imagine what his life is going to be based on the fact that you're having a boy. And I've even talked to girls, young women whose fathers wanted a boy but got a girl. And some of the things that they talk about too is the way that their dad interacted with them because he wanted a boy, so he did things very different with her. But I think, man, there's something about having a boy and having your namesake and he being able to do and model and become all the things, and I'm gonna say this, all the things that you did not arrive to. And the goal is to start him off as early as you can to help mold him to get him to where you either want to be or want it to be. So I think that, man, it starts off from even finding out the gender of the baby, where the vision starts to unfold itself. And there is a lot of emphasis that get placed on boys to become with their fathers better than their dads, and whatever that looks like. And so I mean, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
no, go.
Yeah. So I was gonna say too, just from my personal space, I had when I found out I had a son, was having a son, I was excited. I'm like, oh man, but I didn't know. In my excitement, I wasn't so concerned about who he would become as much as I was concerned about who I would become and trying to figure out how to raise him. But I wasn't really sure who he would be. I just knew that I was going to try everything in my power to just make sure that he had a better chance than I had, or I was a stand up guy around him. But I didn't really necessarily think that I didn't know who he would become. So I tried to expose him to just about everything. And then when he took on to sports, I'm not a sports guy. So when he took on the sports, I was like, oh God, I don't even know what to do. So I remember being nervous just tossing the football around because I was the last person people picked for anything related to sports. So bro, you laughing, bro? That's
No,
childhood trauma, bro. Don't laugh, bro.
I'm sorry. I'm
What you
sorry.
mean?
I'm sorry.
What
I'm
you mean,
just here. I'm just here. I'm just here.
bro? So I was one of the guys that would pray somebody would pick me, and then there were times I was like, why am I even in the line? Don't pick me at all. Just let me go do something else, right? So I had a son, and then had multiple sons that were all involved in sports, and then my insecurities creeped in because I wasn't like the rest of the dads. So I didn't know how to call the plays. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I knew to show up, but I didn't know how to do all the rest of the stuff. And so, I felt insecure, and it became really tough for me because I just didn't know how to navigate them spaces. But it didn't even have nothing to do with my sons as much as it had to do with me. And so I had to learn how to expose them to things that I liked, so that it could kind of add to what they do. So my
So,
son says to me,
man,
go, yeah. So, and I'm gonna wrap it up. So my son said something to me. He's like, Dad, I want to be an NFL player. And I'm like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm like, okay, Cole, so what skill set do you come with as a dad that you can provide to him that you don't have when it comes to playing football? So I was like, well, okay, I know how to get in front of people and communicate. So let me put him in positions where he has to learn how to communicate. Because if he learns how to communicate when he's on television and he's having a reporter talk to him, then he'll know how to articulate himself and be confident in the space. And so, like, starting at like a 10, I started moving him around in spaces with me and, kind of putting him on a spot so that he can think on his feet in terms of how he might respond in a conference. And at one point, he in a room with over 2,000 people sitting with me, and he's working the room with me. And that was my contribution to help him, as it related to what I thought I could give to him. But if it came to sports, I didn't know how to do it. So then I started putting myself in positions to have other men do what I couldn't do. And so I'm like, okay, I got to rely on his coaches because I ain't good at this. But I also don't want to be like the dad that ain't good. But then I got to be honest, I don't really like sports, so that ain't my thing. So I got to put him in somebody if that's what he want to do. So I think for me, I really had to learn not so much how to make him who I wanted him to be. I had to learn how to accept the dad that I was,
yep.
and then try to give him the stuff that I had, and the stuff I didn't have. I had to open up the door for other men to come in and do the work that I couldn't do, and that in itself was hard too. So
Yeah, man. See, and that's what I was gonna say, man. That was huge, right? Because
yeah,
you said a whole lot right there when you
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
how you was very aware of your limitations
yeah,
or how you can get him to a certain place.
yeah.
So you didn't try to become, or you wasn't trying to be something that you were not. And so
No,
what
and I tried
happens,
it,
man,
and,
what happens a lot of times, I was at a presentation once. Was doing a presentation, and this mom was there, and she was just talking about how her child's father, and they were dating, they were still together, and she's saying that she's struggling because her son's father was extremely hard on him because he was showing the son would cry and he was showing emotion, and the dad wanted him to be extremely hard. He wanted him to be all of these, and the dude, and she said, when she was being honest, she was like, my dude, he come from the streets. but his son wasn't a reflection of who he
No.
was at that time, like, being hard. He was the absolute opposite of that. And the father
Yep.
was struggling with that. And she was saying how he would yoke the son up, and, yelling at him and correcting everything that he did because, he was pissed and he was
Yeah.
angry because he
Yeah.
wasn't, doing what, or he wasn't becoming or showcasing, what the dad thought that he would showcase. And I think
Yeah.
that is a struggle for not just only men. This is a struggle for even moms, right? Because you get
Oh yeah.
this expectation, especially if depending on where you come from, that you have these expectation of what your child is supposed to look like, how they're supposed to behave, what you want, right? You move. I mean, I just keep it 100. Like, I don't live in the type of environment that I grew up in, right? And
Right.
so at times I had to catch myself because I'm like, yo, these kids today, they soft, man. Some of my kids, right? Like, yo, you don't know struggle. I
Right.
mean, you complaining about, there's nothing in the kitchen and nothing in the refrigerator to eat. And I go in there, look, I'm like, it's a whole bunch of stuff,
Once.
but to them, there's nothing, right? So I'm just like, like getting upset. But I'm like, yo, Sean, you made them that way,
Yeah.
right? It was you who made them that way, right? Like, why do you get angry because they don't have your same experience? You worked hard, you did whatever you needed to do to give them a different lifestyle. So no, they're not going to have the same type of grind. They're not going to view things the way that you view it because their process is totally different. So no, they don't know what it means to struggle the way you struggle, right?
Yeah.
And so my thing is I had to catch myself in my parenting. I was just saying, yeah, excuse me, I got my dog in here, and uh Daltraz wanted to come. But but that was the struggle, right? Like, and I'll just be honest, man,
Yeah.
I still had to catch myself today. Like with
Absolutely.
my children who I think should have a stronger work ethic.
Yeah.
But my thing is I had to look back as like, Sean, what did you do or what did you not do to prepare them, to develop them?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And so not be
Yeah.
so angry at them because they don't have the same drive that I had. Well, their experience was totally different, bruh.
Yeah.
They drivers,
Yeah.
I mean, they had iPhones at, 7, 8
Yeah.
years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had iPads and their own room and all that. Like, yo, so they don't know what it is to struggle the way you struggle. And so a lot of
Yeah.
times, man, fathers, man, they struggle with that area of their children not being the way they expected them to be.
And and I think too, Sean, it goes back to why the work that you and I do and so many other brothers do is so important when we talk about how to engage organizations and supporting fathers, and how do we make sure that we show up for fathers and give them that information, because what is lacking and missing for a lot of dads is information.
Yeah, bro.
And so why did it take me so long to learn about the attachment theory and to learn about the difference between secure um and secure insecure and secure attachment, like to recognize the power of bonding. Like, nobody told me that kind of stuff, and so I think too, what tends to happen for fathers, and I mean in general parents too, right? Moms tend to get more of the information because they are often sometimes involved in programs that will put them in positions where they'll have to learn the information. But dads will often get the information secondhand by mom if they do have a relationship with her, but they won't get the information.
Yep.
And so, a lot of times it's like, how do you know how to parent a baby, infant, toddler? How do you know the ages and stages? All of the most important things that you need to know as a father to be able to nurture your child. If you've not had anybody talk to you about it, you tend to model what you see. And that's another issue. So if I'm a boy trying to raise a child and I've never had a father raising me, And the models that I have seen have been maybe have come from films that exploit the narrative of black men and fathers. Then I'm left to the narratives that are on that's on media. I'm left to the narrative that's in my community, and then I'm left to the narrative of the women in my life who've been exposed to men who've also bought the narrative. And so now I have a son, and I'm trying to figure out how do I create a dream from a narrative, from all these narratives that tell me what it even means to be a father, when a lot of times the narratives that they're telling me don't align to who I am either. And so I think that's the part that's so important about why fatherhood engagement is so important, why we have to be in these spaces to really help people understand that fathers have been sold a narrative that does not line culturally to who they are. And so quite often, if they don't have the information, they tend to repeat the narratives that are told to them from a society that doesn't truly really listen to black and brown men. So I think that's where it's impactful because I'm again we push this all the time. If you really want to help children, then you have to help fathers. Like,
Yes. That's
I mean
that's
that's
key, bro. That's
yeah,
key. You can't
that's
help a child without helping the father, bro. You
yeah,
just can't, man. Like that
yeah,
has been a group that has been neglected. And my thing is like people like, yo, how do we fix this crime? How listen, I'll show you how you fix crime in communities. You build up men in that community
yeah,
that they take their rightful place, and now they're mentoring and they're showing these other young men other ways to generate revenue, right?
yeah,
Meeting them right where they are,
yeah.
right? Meeting them right where they are. Because what happens, man, if you isolate, you take some of these young boys away from the crowd and you begin to pour in them individually, bro, they don't want that.
No,
They don't want that. Like that's not what they want. They wind up becoming that because that's what they have access to, right? Because it's like eat or be eaten,
yeah, yeah,
right? Eat or be eaten, especially when you have a community that is predominantly single moms raising these boys and these girls. Bro, how are they supposed to do it? They do an amazing job, but how do they do it without the support of men stepping up and taking their rightful place, right?
yeah,
So what in the area of sticking to what we're talking about, I've seen where men where their child, and I keep it 100, man,
yeah.
where dad see his child is a little bit more feminine, right? And
Oh
he
yeah,
just like, yo, well, now he want to beat him, he want to yell at him. You mean he want to cut into him, right? Because he pissed, not just because how the son is. That dad is worried about what his boys is gonna be thinking.
absolutely. Well, I mean, and feminine sometimes, which is interesting to me, right? Because feminine may not even be the feminine characteristics of the mannerisms. It could really be that he cries or that he's
Yes.
sensitive, or you know what I'm saying. And so, I mean, I even made a post today that I think is interesting. And the question is, if a young man is inherently sensitive or emotional, right? He's going to be sensitive to his emotions. And so, what are parents doing to make sure that when you have a child that you're raising and he is tapped in with the superpower of understanding his emotions but really not having the verbal
Hold up, back
understanding of
up,
how to
back up,
navigate
back
it.
up, back up, back up, back up.
Uh-oh.
You said
Uh-oh.
so you saying somebody having the ability to tap into his emotions is a superpower.
Yeah, yeah, that's an ability.
You gotta you gotta talk about that.
That's no, that's an ability, man. Because what tends to happen is that boys who are born with that superpower, they tend to get that superpower beat out of them, hushed out of them, silenced out of them, or destroyed out of them to the point that because in order for them to really fit into the main culture of what it means
I
to
don't
be
even
a
got my
boy,
sound
you
effect. Keep
uh-oh.
going.
Yeah, man. Listen, and yeah, in order for them to be able to keep going, now I didn't use the word keep going. They it gets lost, man. We tend to destroy it, and or it gets silenced that they don't even use the superpower when they really need it. And so I think what again it goes back to how do we socialize boys to become men, but we also have to recognize that having feelings and expressing them doesn't mean any, and that's not. it isn't a bad thing. And I keep, it's so interesting that we keep associating feelings to women when women are amazing. Like there, to the fact that whether you can give birth or not give birth, I've come to recognize too that shouldn't be the measure of a woman either, whether she can give birth as her strength, but just the fact that you're a woman navigating spaces that where you have men in spaces who can be really challenging and toxic towards how they see women and the way that the society has socialized women overall. That's strength in itself. And so for me, it's like if a man has the a young man has the ability to tap into both of his energies, right? Because he comes from both of those energies, feminine and masculine. Why do we shut one down to overcompensate for the other? And so I think that again, it comes back to how do we make sure that boys find balance in their emotions so that they can be nurturing when it's time to be nurturing to their
But that,
children. They can be assertive when it's time for them to be assertive with their children, and not only be assertive and aggressive as one style of fathering their boys, but make sure that they are nurturing on the other side because that
Cole,
boys need
that's
to have that.
cool. That's cool. That's cool that you're saying that. I love it. That is, you know, what I mean, I agree. But that it's not just
But
that. It is a but, man, because there's people out there where, bro, they don't know. It's uncomfortable to tap into their emotions,
well,
right? It's uncomfortable to support your child. Like some people don't know how to balance that boy, right? I mean,
but
to
that's
help.
Sean. That's why they come to people like us. So we can help. We can empower them. You know what I'm saying? It's about, I don't want to help you. I want to empower you because you do have the nurturing gift. I've seen some of the quote unquote hardest dudes when put in a space where they can really just be themselves.
Oh yeah, bro.
Man, nurturing, caring, loving. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's nurturing, caring, loving boys and men out here. We just have to stop buying the narrative. There is a narrative that's been exploited through all kind of channels to tell people who we are. And I'm like, no, not every man operates out of that. So
But
how do
some
we make
people
sure
may
that
say that they can't, that they won't be able to survive, bro, in their communities, showing that, right? Like, yo,
man?
I can't be the protector that my wife, need me to be, right? I mean, Will Smith, like yeah, I lost all of this stuff, but I protected my wife.
Yeah. Well, again, we have to go back to definitions, right? How do we define the things that we claim or own? What is protection? You know what I'm saying? Because what I need you to do is, and this is it. This is the tough part about being a dad, right? Because the ask is, I not only need you to protect us like a warrior, I also need you to learn how to protect the hearts of the people that matter to you too. So again, how do I protect the hearts if my heart hasn't been protected? If I've not had opportunities to lean into love, you know what I'm saying, without it being beat into me, or I can't express it, or if I do express love, it becomes a part of sex. And so that's the part that again only men can help shift those narratives and those experiences for both boys and girls by really tapping into really understanding this stuff and being willing and open to it. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
anybody can change.
What's super dope, man, being in this space of supervised visitation, man, is that I'm learning, and so many biases that I had is being destroyed. And
Man, beautiful.
I'm learning so much from these parents. Like I got this one father, bro, who currently right now who has have to do supervised visitation over a video, right? Over Zoom. So he
Mm.
can't be in the same room. So I'm like, yo, this is gonna be different. Yo, this dude is lights out. This cat is lights out. I'm like, yo, if I was in that position, I wouldn't know what the heck to do. He's sitting
Wow.
here with his daughter. They playing house. He's at his crib. She at her crib. They playing with toys together. He's telling stories. He's reading books, right? He's making sounds. You know what I mean? He's doing all of these things to interact and showing his daughter how he's not making an excuse that because he's not in her presence physically, that he can't show her that he loves her through many demonstrations. I was
Yeah.
with a dude not too long ago who's coming to the office. You can tell my man was a street cat.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him interact with his boys. Yo, so nurturing. And
Yeah.
you know what my man, you know
Yeah.
where he come from. Like hands down, you know what I mean, whole nine. You know what I mean? But my
Yeah.
man is super dope. So it's breaking my narrative, or my thought process of even how men should and how men will act, interact. Because I'll be a liar to say that when I meet certain people that my bias doesn't come in, and I have to really work at addressing that.
And Sean, we all do. I mean, the first part of addressing it is first acknowledgement. So, I think that's a part when I think about implicit bias training or any type of training, I always, oh
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
my phone died.
whoa. But it's all good. Cole phone died, but we know how to keep this thing going. Cole will be back in a second. He gonna plug it up, right? So, but this is the thing, man, is that when we are talking about how does fathers really begin to connect with the child that they have, struggling with the child that they always desire, right? Because I'm just looking at a lot of men really desire to have, you know, their child to be super strong and to be super athletic, not just for the child, but for them as the dad to brag, like, yo, look at my child. Look at what he's done. Look what we have done together. Look what we have created, right? Look what we've created. And I'm just keep it 100, man. A lot of times, man, men struggle that if they were athletic and then they have a child who does not do a lot of athletic things, they struggle with that, right? They struggle with that. And so my challenge to you, brothers, is that you have to really, it's not about you, it's about your child. It's about being aware of what your child need, it's you being aware of what your child need at this moment to help them cultivate and become who the creator called them to be, right? Because a lot of times, man, you can try to force them to be something that they have no desire. And so what happens? They grow up, they resent you. And then you get mad because they don't want to wake up, in the morning and work hard or, be aggressive at the thing that you want them to accomplish. Like, yo, I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not in me. That wasn't my assignment. They know early on that that's not my assignment. And so my thing to you is that you have to be extremely aware of what your child's needs are and not take it personal if they don't want to do what you want them to do. You just have to you have to come to the conclusion that it's not about you, it's about your child, and how do you serve your child? How do you help your child cultivate their God-given gifts so they can maximize, because they're not going to be kids always. Right? It's your job to help cultivate them to become responsible adults, because they're going to either become a husband, a wife, or a father, or whatever. They are going to interact with other people, and you want to make sure that you are not adding or placing trauma upon them that's unnecessary, right? Because they have insecurities because you're not supporting them in their efforts, right? They afraid to really expose or go all out in a certain area because they know you're not going to support them. And that's a real thing. That's a real thing that especially, and I can only speak about fathers. I'm not sure about moms, but I can speak to the fathers that they struggle with that part, that their child is not doing what they wanted them to do. Right? My first child, my daughter, I'm like, yo, yeah, I mean, if I only have one child, I'm gonna raise her. She gonna be this amazing athlete. She gonna do all this stuff. Man, I took her tail out there to soccer. Bro, that ball smacked her all over the place. Right? Very little athleticism. And I'm like, yo, I play Big Ten ball. So my daughter is going, my children, they going to be this, they going to be that. Yo, and my daughter, she had very little athleticism. Very little athleticism. So I had a decision to make at that moment is, yo, do I support her in what she desires to do, which was cheerleading, spirit fingers,
Love the
I'm
spirit
like,
fingers.
yo, I don't know anything about this, but guess what? I'm like, yo, I'm gonna invest, right? So we invest in trainers, we put in all types of stuff, help her learn how to swim, how to flip, how to right, because it wasn't about me, it was about investing in her desire, what she wanted. Because I wanted her to be an athlete, but that wasn't her desire. So I would have
Yeah.
destroyed her if I would have forced her to do something that she didn't want to do. She went out there and played basketball. I put her in basketball. She was hacking everybody just like her daddy. Hacking everybody. Play soccer, ball was hitting
Wow.
her in the stomach, the face, everything. But she loved to flip and climb. And what happened? She excelled in that. She excelled. It boosted her confidence. Why? Because that was her lane. And so it's important to help your children discover their lane and dominate it so that way you're not putting expectations on them that shouldn't be. So good to have you back, Mr. Cole.
Listen, I'm in a different city,
Yeah. Oh, it's the
but I'm
city.
here.
It's the city. It's the city. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But that's real, man.
No, man,
That's
Sean,
real, man.
that's good, man. That's good. That's good. I think at the end of the day, I think I've not run into a parent yet who doesn't want the best for their children.
Yep.
I think parents do want the best. I think that it's challenging parenting, but I think when they get the tools and the skills, they'll push through that.
You
So
see that, Ken? Yo,
parents have to
Cole always got to do something. Every
come on,
single time he got to do something, Ken. Every single time, bro.
come on, Ken. Come on, Ken. Ken, you know what it is. You magic, bro. You gonna make us look beautiful. So I don't even worry about all my and my deficiencies because I know what you gonna do. So brother, you make magic, so I'm
But
good.
you know what? You say that, man. I want to celebrate Ken, man. Like, listen, man.
Man,
A lot of
come
people
on.
don't know. Like, listen, I am extremely busy, man, and I tell you, I would not be able to do all the stuff that I do, right? Like social media wise, without Ken.
Yeah,
Like Ken
yeah,
is an animal. Kenneth Graham is the
yeah,
one who's over my social media, who do all my videos, who creates all of my content, the stuff that you guys love and enjoy and see. Nothing to do with
yeah,
me. I just create, I just speak, I send it to Ken, and Ken does what he does. You know what I mean? So if you
yeah.
are in this space, now don't make him too busy where he can't, still take care of me, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But this is the thing,
But
like for real, if you need
yeah,
to level up on your social media, on your content or whatever, yo, Kenneth Graham is the man. And this is the crazy thing about Ken, man. And I want to celebrate him, right? Yo, Ken came to ESA to my speaking program years ago, and I'm so glad that he trusted me, right? Because he's an awesome speaker. But watching what Ken was doing, he was doing all of his own social media stuff, developing stuff, doing all, and in our coaching, I'm like, yo, Ken, and it was Ebony Gibson,
yeah,
and she was one who recognized it too. But we came to him and was like, yo, Ken, yo, your lane, like you can speak, don't stop speaking, but your lane, your gift, bro, is creating content. And he didn't know how to create like amazing content. But what he did, he just invested in himself, started doing it a lot, and now you look at the work he does. A lot of people content, man, and he's behind the scenes. He's not one of those look at me, look at this, you know what I mean? But Ken is super 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 dope. So please, you see his name in the stream here, go check out, go in, get in his DMs. He's married, So don't try to, pull up on him.
Right,
All
right,
right.
right.
All right, ladies, don't try to pull
Pull,
up
pull
on
up,
him. He's married.
pull up
But,
on them.
slide in his
Get that social
DMs.
media.
Yeah, slide in his DMs, you know what I mean? And just like, yo, like, Ken, I want to grow with you. So, yeah, man, like,
Yeah,
Ken is definitely super dope, man.
real talk, real talk. I support that 100%. That's why I never worry because I'm like Ken got this.
Yeah,
I trust you, Ken.
guys. Yo, you are absolutely right. So, yo, what's the legit or not legit tonight?
Man, I had the legit and not legit on the tip of my tongue too. I had a good one too. I was gonna switch it up, but now I lost it. My
See,
mind. I got to get it when I got it, or it's gone.
boy,
Uh, I promise.
you are
It was
something
good.
else. It was
It
good.
was good too. It was really good. I should have wrote it down, but my phone, switched up on me real quick, Ken.
Oh,
So I got lost.
oh, your phone made you forget you're legit or not legit tonight. Is that what you're saying?
Man, is it legit or not legit? Yeah, that's all I got. Is it
Boy, you
legit or not legit? I'm stuck,
all
bro.
right. Is
That's
it
what I'm at tonight.
legit? All right. You answer this. Is it legit or not legit for the baby daddy to still sleep with the baby mom with his child's mama after she done moved on?
So
Like,
are we talking
so
about?
what happens? I mean, they moved on. He's the baby daddy. He's coming through to pick up his child. Should he still have rights? Is it legit for him to still be able to have sex with her?
So I gotta really up my legit
Oh
and
my
not legit stuff because
God.
the stuff that you give,
Yo.
it be so controversial though, bro. What? Are you serious right now?
I'm very serious because these are things that come up in my groups, bro. So I need to know, is it legit or not legit?
It's
Yo, it's his child.
they're
Yo,
con-
it's his. Yo,
they're
he was with her.
consistent.
It's his child's. It's his
Listen,
child's. Listen, it's his child's mom. He was with
yeah,
her
yeah,
already. He was with
right,
her
right,
already. You know what I mean?
right.
So
What's that?
should he be able when he go over to pick up the kids is late? Should he be able to still
I mean,
hold
if
her?
listen. So if it's two consenting adults and they decide that's what they want to do, then that's what they do.
So it's legit.
So it's legit if that's what it is, but it's not legit if he's he's under the understanding that because she is the baby mom's and that they've already procreated together already and they've done this together that just because that's not merit for him to continue just to have the choice of like okay just we didn't did it so I'm coming through go ahead and do what we need to do. I
Cole,
mean
you are something
that's
else,
not
man.
legit.
Yo, I just
That's
asked
not
you is it
legit.
legit or not legit. You giving
Bro,
two
I will
sides.
listen. Let me tell you something. You know what culture we live in, bro. You already know. So we got to break it all the way
No, no,
down.
no, we don't.
We got to break it down, bro. I'm I'm not trying to
listen,
I'm
listen,
not trying to have this come back 5 years.
listen.
They be like,
It
oh my
might come.
gosh,
Listen,
Cole was
listen,
no.
listen. I'm
I'm
having a
just,
good time on here, and I'm going to say, and I could go with both sides, right? But I have to pick
that's
a
what I'm
side.
saying.
Listen, I have to pick one side though. If I had to pick one side, like my camera,
You gonna say
if I had to pick one side, I'm gonna say not legit. I'm gonna say not legit.
I agree.
And so my not legit is because it makes it complicated. It makes it extremely complicated when you are trying to co-parent because there's emotions involved and what happens who suffers is that child because especially
But
if
what if they
mom
trying
moved
to
on.
get back together?
Huh?
What if they trying to get back together?
But that's not the question. That's not the thing. That's not what we're trying to set up. That's not the thing.
Oh,
My scenario is that they both moved on. He coming to pick
oh,
up the child.
you ain't say move. You ain't say move
Check the
on.
tape. Check the tape. Check the tape.
I ain't hear no move on.
Check
I
the
heard it
tape.
was the baby moms.
It's
Is it
baby mom.
legit for him
Listen,
to
it's
still?
baby moms. It's baby moms. He's coming through to pick the child up. My man think that he could still hit.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they ain't legit unless they consenting.
Boy, you so. Yo, y'all already know Cole, man. They know you. Cole, they know you. There's always an if. There's boy, you something else. Man, God bless you. Hey, listen, that's why I love you. That's why I love this podcast, man. Yo, let's keep winning. Let's keep doing what we do, man. Cole, man, yo, it's always a pleasure,
Always.
man. I love doing
Always,
this with
brother.
you, man. Let's continue to grow
Love you,
together,
brother.
man.
Yes, sir.
See y'all
Peace
next
out.
week.